As an artist, Jim, what is it about sport that attracts your attention more than any other subject?
When I was a kid, I didn't have computers or didn't have a television, and I used to listen to football on the radio with my grandfather, and I would sit and draw what I thought was happening on the park. And all newspapers were in black and white. Very seldom you got colour pictures of footballers. So I used to sit and colour in the pictures on the newspapers, mainly Celtic and Rangers and stuff like that. That's where it started, I think, and there's just been an obsession with it ever since. I suppose I could sum it up by, I did an exhibition during the 1990 when Glasgow was European City of Culture, and in that exhibition I worked for a year doing workshops, and we had about 300 people through the workshops, and I had some of their work in my exhibition. And on the day it opened, we had 30,000 people turned up to see the exhibition. Now, I know the Celtic team turned up to open the exhibition straight from training, and there was bodybuilders and the snooker players and golfers and all sorts turned up over the weeks to see it. But there was a big buzz about why so many people came to see an art exhibition in Coatbridge of all places. But following the success of that, I was asked to speak at the Arts in Confinement Conference for Europe. And while I was making my speech, you get questions from the floor. And there was this guy who was a chancellor of an art school down in England, who kept buzzing in, asking a question. You didn't need to answer it right away, you could take the question and answer it as you went on. And he kept saying to me, "Are you serious that painting football is art?" And he just kept rubbishing everything I was trying to say and everything I was trying to get across. And in the end, he had made a speech about the bringing the pre-Raphaelite paintings to Glasgow and bringing Van Gogh to Glasgow for 1990. And he talked about the colour and the passion and everything that was in those paintings. And I finished off by saying, "Can I just take your point now and tell you why I paint sport? Because it's full of colour and passion. There is nowhere else than a Celtic and Rangers Cup final that you'll have a 25-stone guy standing next to you greeting at the end of the match or hugging you to death. And if you don't want to capture that in paint, then there's something wrong with you."
Apart from football, what other sports interest you artistically?
I'm off to America, and one of the places I'm going to go to, and my friends are laughing about this, is the Lawnmower Hall of Fame. And the reason I'm going is because there's actually a sport in America where they race lawnmowers, those ones you sit on. And I just have to see this. It just sounds totally bizarre to me. If you don't have a history, invent it and make a museum about it. So I'm going to see that. But so I think every sport, no matter how vague or how strange it sounds, interests me.
How did your working relationship with Celtic begin, and how has it progressed over the last 30 years?
There's been lots of people painted for Celtic over the years. I'm the one person who's painted every year. It doesn't bother me that there are other people paint for them. I think it's great. I quite like the fact that people collect my work and they keep coming back to me and asking for more and more. And they reproduce it in prints and postcards and all sorts of stuff. And I've done kind of one-off things, like did the original Bronzy, the stuff for the Hoopy Club and the Christmas cards and all this kind of thing, you know. So it's been good. It's been quite a long affair with them, but it's one of those ones you just do because you love doing it. You know, if you're a football supporter, you know what I mean. It's painting for Celtic. It's almost as good as playing for them.
I know you're involved with a lot of charities, so would you like to take this opportunity to raise some awareness for them?
I don't think I'm that charitable. I'd do paintings and give them away. They're usually made into prints and whatever, so I rather than sell the original off for a stupid amount of money, I'll give it to a charity who can raise an even stupider amount of money. I did the Celtic Hall of Fame paintings and they were all given away. I did Jimmy Johnson, I did the Celtic Great 11 and they were all auctioned off on the night, and the Jimmy Johnson one went for something like 25,000 and it's now whoever bought it gave it to Celtic because it was the last picture Jimmy signed. But the two charities that I work quite closely with, Children in Need sponsored me for about 3 years to go around and work with school kids and deal with different problems, but use my art to get them to open up. Like I've gone to schools, worked with a group of bullies, and while I was working with them I would work with another group of kids that they had bullied, and after 3 or 4 weeks I'd bring the two groups together and work with them together about teaching them about respect and stuff like that. And in different schools we dealt with different issues. It could be drug issues, it could be domestic violence, it could be gender issues, all sorts of stuff. And using art as a tool, as a therapeutic tool, it wasn't about teaching them to paint brilliant, it was about getting them in an environment where they felt quite safe to open up, and also they could learn to respect, work as a group and stuff like that. As part of that, because I was spending 6 weeks everywhere I went, the last group I went to was in Hamilton. It was a group called PETAL, People Experiencing Trauma and Loss, and it's a group that supports families who've had someone murdered. And I'd asked, as a children's group, could I work with a group of young people for 5 or 6 weeks with one of your workers and see if we can draw them out and help them deal with issues. And that was 4 years ago last week. I was there for 6 weeks and I'm still doing it every Saturday.
So what are your goals for the future?
If I just keep painting, that's the main thing. But every day something new comes in. I'm doing the stuff with Celtic this year, where I'm going to be visiting schools, teaching them a little bit about what I do, then see what they produce, and bringing the best of them to Celtic Park, to the classroom facilities at Celtic. They can spend a day at Celtic, meet a couple of players, and do a master class with me, which will last a full day, and we do that over quite a long period of time. That's coming up. Hamilton Accies football ground just came on today looking for, they have an art wall and want me to do something there, but I'm going to take the kids from PETAL and get them to do it. I'll design it and they can do it. I gave some artwork to a group of kids, young people, secondary school kids in Coatbridge and Airdrie who go to Malawi every year, and they sold them and raised enough money from the paintings to build a nursery. And so another thing I've got set up for this year is to design a mural for the nursery, which I'm not going to be able to go over there and do it, but the pupils who've gone over are going to, I'll line it all out for them on canvas, they'll attach it to the wall and they'll paint it with the kids in Malawi. And hopefully at some point I'll get a chance to go out and see it.